The sun was blazing over Jamaica's turquoise waters when the drama no one saw coming erupted like a storm. What was meant to be a peaceful, picture-perfect getaway for Rasheeda and Kirk Frost quickly turned into a nightmare the moment Jasmine Blue showed up at the same resort, unannounced, and apparently, unbothered. Cameras caught what fans are now calling the wildest love and hip-hop moment off-screen. Rasheeda arrived in her wide-brimmed hat and flowy white dress, smiling, thinking this would be her long-overdue escape from Atlanta's chaos. Kirk had promised it would be just them. No drama, no headlines. But as the waves crashed and the music played, whispers began spreading across the resort like wildfire. Kirk was missing, his phone was off, his wallet was gone, and the last person anyone saw him talking to was Jasmine. By sunset, the resort had turned into a battlefield of emotions. Rasheeda, furious and panicked, stormed through the lobby demanding answers. Guests pulled out their phones as the queen of boss chick energy transformed from calm to explosive. "Don't play with me, Kirk. Don't you dare," she shouted, her voice echoing against marble walls. Then came the twist that sent fans into shock. Jasmine walked out of the elevator in Kirk's beach robe, sipping a drink like nothing had happened. The silence that followed was heavier than the humid Jamaican air. Everyone froze, waiting for Rasheeda's reaction. Security tried to calm her, but it was too late. She marched straight toward Jasmine, eyes burning with disbelief. "You got me twisted if you think I came all the way here to be disrespected again," she snapped. In that moment, phones were recording from every corner. Tourists turned paparazzi. Rasheeda threw her clutch to the floor and stepped right up to Jasmine. Face to face, every ounce of hurt and betrayal boiling over. "Where is he, Jasmine? Where's my husband?" she demanded. Jasmine smirked, the kind of smirk that said she wasn't scared. "Ask him," she replied coldly, before taking another sip. That was all it took. Chaos broke loose. Rasheeda lunged forward as security scrambled to pull her back. Guests screamed, the staff panicked, and within seconds, the resort lobby looked like a reality TV reunion gone wrong. Back in Atlanta, fans flooded social media. Hashtags like #JamaicaFrostFight and #WhereIsKirk started trending overnight. Everyone wanted to know what really happened in that resort, and why Kirk had disappeared. Some said it was all a publicity stunt. Others claimed Kirk had been seen getting into a black SUV near the beach hours before the fight. But the truth, as sources close to the Frost family revealed, was far messier than anyone imagined. And the events that unfolded in Jamaica didn't just expose long-buried secrets, they changed everything for Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine forever. The air around the Jamaican resort was thick with salt, sweat, and whispers. Rasheeda had been pacing the poolside for almost an hour, her gold sandals clicking against the tiles with every frustrated step. She kept glancing at her phone, refreshing Kirk's last location like it would suddenly tell her what she needed to know. Nothing. Just the same blue dot from 2 hours ago. People around her were pretending not to stare, but every time she looked up, another stranger's camera was pointed her way. The scene was already going viral, and she didn't even know what for yet. She thought Kirk might be filming a surprise, maybe even something romantic. But the pit in her stomach said otherwise. She felt it, deep and cold, the sense that this trip had already gone wrong before it began. Across the pool, Jasmine sat at the bar, spinning a straw between her fingers like she owned the place. Her hair was slick, her dress too perfect for a random appearance. The moment Rasheeda noticed her, everything inside her froze. She didn't move, she didn't blink. It felt like time had stopped just to let that recognition sink in. Jasmine looked up, saw her, and smiled. That kind of smile that wasn't friendly, that wasn't sorry. It was the smile of someone who knew exactly what she was doing. Rasheeda's breath caught in her throat, and for a second, she thought she might scream. Instead, she walked straight toward her. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice low but trembling with anger. Jasmine turned her head lazily, pretending to be surprised. "Me? Oh, I'm just enjoying the island. Didn't know y'all were here too." Rasheeda clenched her fists. "Don't play dumb with me. You and Kirk, what's going on?" Jasmine shrugged. "Ask him. He's the one who invited me." That sentence hit like a punch to the chest. Rasheeda took a step back, her face twisting in disbelief. "You're lying." Jasmine laughed softly. "Am I?" Before Rasheeda could answer, her phone buzzed again. It was a text from Kirk, 3 words that only made things worse. "I need space. Nothing else. No call. No reason. No apology. Just that." Her fingers shook as she read it again and again. Jasmine leaned closer, her voice dripping with mock sweetness. "Guess he found it." That was it. Rasheeda's control snapped. She grabbed the edge of the bar, slamming her hand against it so hard the glass rattled. "You've been messing with my life for years, Jasmine. Years. And now you show up here like this. Jasmine didn't flinch. She just looked at her reflection in the drink. Maybe your husband's the one who can't stay away. The tension drew a crowd. Guests whispered from behind their cocktails, pretending not to record but doing it anyway. One man muttered, "Is that Rasheeda from Love and Hip Hop?" Another replied, "Bro, they really fighting in Jamaica now." It was turning into a circus. And through it all, Rasheeda's voice trembled, not from rage, but heartbreak. "You ruined my family once," she said quietly, "and I swore I'd never let you do it again." Jasmine's eyes flicked upward. "Then maybe stop chasing the same man." Someone gasped. A glass broke. It was chaos waiting to explode. Before anyone could intervene, Rasheeda threw the drink sitting beside her straight across the counter. It splashed Jasmine's dress, the red liquid spreading like blood across white fabric. Jasmine shot up from her seat, her voice rising for the first time. "You're insane." "No," Rasheeda snapped. "I'm done." They were inches apart now, security running from the lobby entrance. Someone screamed, someone cheered. A phone light flashed like paparazzi lightning. Rasheeda's earrings glimmered as she leaned closer, whispering something only Jasmine could hear. Whatever it was, Jasmine's expression changed from smug to shaken. Just as security reached them, a loud commotion broke near the beach entrance. Two men were arguing with staff, one of them holding a phone with Kirk's photo pulled up. "We saw him, man. He was right here earlier." Rasheeda froze. Everyone turned. For the first time since morning, she felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this wasn't what it looked like. Maybe Kirk wasn't with Jasmine after all. She rushed toward the beach, ignoring security's pleas. Sand stuck to her feet as she ran across the shore, her heart pounding louder than the waves. "Kirk," she shouted. No answer, just the wind. A staff member approached her carefully. "Ma'am, the gentleman checked out this afternoon." Rasheeda's voice cracked. "Checked out? He can't where, did he go?" The man hesitated. "He said he was going to Montego Bay, alone." She turned toward the horizon, eyes wide with disbelief. Jasmine appeared behind her, now barefoot, her ruined dress clinging to her. "Told you he needed space." That night, the resort buzzed with rumors. Some said Kirk had left after a fight with Rasheeda that morning. Others claimed Jasmine had been seen slipping a keycard to someone who looked like him. Social media went wild, spinning theories and fake sightings. Rasheeda locked herself in her room, scrolling through headlines that read "Kirk Frost vanishes in Jamaica, Rasheeda and Jasmine clash at luxury resort." She couldn't breathe. She replayed every argument they'd ever had, every promise he'd ever made. Maybe this was his way of saying he was done. But deep down, she didn't believe that. Kirk was too calculated for a stunt like this. Something wasn't right. She called him again. Voicemail called again. Nothing. Then, a knock at her door. She opened it to find a small envelope slid under the frame. Her name written in messy handwriting she recognized instantly. She tore it open, expecting Kirk's apology. Instead, it was a note that said, "Stop looking for him before it gets worse." No signature, no context, just those words. Her hands went cold. She backed away from the door, staring at the note like it was cursed. Minutes later, her phone lit up again, but this time, it wasn't Kirk. It was Carly Red, calling from Atlanta. "Girl, what's going on over there? Y'all trending all over the blogs." Rasheeda's voice broke. "He's gone. Carly, gone. And Jasmine's here, acting like she knows something." Carly's tone shifted from amused to serious. "Don't do anything stupid. You hear me? They want you to react. You keep your head straight." Rasheeda sank onto the bed, her eyes red. "I can't lose him again. Carly, not like this." As she sat there, a faint sound came from outside her balcony. Laughter. She stepped out, heart racing. Down below, near the beach, Jasmine was laughing with someone, a tall man in a black hoodie. She couldn't see his face, but his posture. The way he stood, it was Kirk's. She gripped the railing, her pulse skyrocketing. "No," she whispered. "It can't be." She grabbed her phone and started recording, zooming in as the man leaned closer to Jasmine. The camera shook in her trembling hands. Then Jasmine looked up, saw her, and smiled again. The same mocking smile from earlier, only this time it felt deliberate. The man beside her turned slightly, but, before Rasheeda could capture his face, they disappeared into the darkness. The video would go viral within hours. The headlines would explode again. But for Rasheeda, the only thing louder than the internet noise was the sound of her heart breaking all over again. And somewhere out there, Kirk Frost was still missing, leaving everyone to wonder if what happened in Jamaica was just a lover's fight or something far deeper, darker, and dangerous than anyone imagined. The night bled into morning, and the Jamaican sun rose like it had forgotten what happened the day before. Rasheeda hadn't slept. Her eyes were swollen, her mind running circles around every possibility. She kept hearing Jasmine's laugh, the faint echo of that man's voice near the water, and the memory of Kirk's message, "I need space." What did that even mean now? Space from what? From her. From the truth. She opened the balcony doors and let the humid air fill the room, trying to breathe through the panic clawing at her chest. Somewhere below, staff were cleaning up broken glass near the pool, traces of last night's chaos being washed away as if none of it mattered. But to Rasheeda, it mattered more than anything. It wasn't just another scandal. It was her marriage, her name, her dignity, everything she had fought to protect. Her phone buzzed again. Hundreds of missed calls, texts, mentions. The blogs were relentless. One headline read, "Rasheeda meltdown in Jamaica, Kirk, missing after heated brawl with Jasmine." Another claimed Jasmine and Kirk had been spotted boarding a boat to Montego Bay. She wanted to throw the phone into the ocean. Instead, she dialed Kirk again, pressing the phone to her ear until it hurt. "Voicemail. Kirk," she whispered, voice breaking. "If you hear this, just call me. I don't care what happened. I just need to know you're okay." A soft knock came at her door. She froze, half expecting it to be Jasmine or worse, another note. But when she opened it, it was one of the resort staff holding a small paper bag. "Delivery for you, ma'am." Rasheeda frowned. "From who?" The woman hesitated. "A gentleman left it at the front desk. He said you'd know." Rasheeda's pulse spiked. She took the bag, closed the door, and sat on the bed. Inside was a pair of Kirk's sunglasses and a folded receipt from the resort bar timestamped from the night before. The bartender's name was scribbled on the back. She rushed downstairs, storming straight to the bar. The bartender, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, looked up from wiping glasses. "Can I help you?" Rasheeda shoved the receipt across the counter. "You gave him this." "Kirk Frost. He was here last night." "Tell me what happened." The man sighed. "He came for a drink around midnight. Said he was waiting for someone." "Someone?" She pressed. "Who?" The man looked uneasy. "A woman. Short dress, red nails, American accent." "I didn't see her face." Rasheeda gritted her teeth. "Jasmine, of course. Did they leave together?" she demanded. The man nodded slowly. They walked toward the pier. Rasheeda turned on her heel and sprinted toward the beach again, sand sticking to her feet. The pier stretched out into the blue, empty except for seagulls and a single sandal lying near the edge. She picked it up. It was Kirk's. The exact same pair he wore that morning at breakfast. Her stomach dropped. She turned toward the lifeguard hut, yelling, "Was anyone out here last night?" "Anyone?" A young worker stepped out, startled. "Yeah, ma'am. There was a man and woman arguing near the water. The guy looked like he was about to leave on a boat, but then they disappeared toward the rocks." Her phone buzzed again, this time from an unknown number. She answered instantly. "Hello." Static. Then a voice low, almost mechanical. "Stop looking. Rasheeda." Click. The line went dead. She stared at the screen, heart pounding so fast she thought she might faint. She sat down on the sand, shaking, whispering to herself, "What is happening?" The sound of laughter drifted faintly from behind her. Jasmine again. She turned slowly. Jasmine was walking toward her, wearing sunglasses. Calm as ever. "You should go home," she said softly. "This island's got too many ghosts for you." Rasheeda stood, her voice trembling but fierce. "What did you do to him?" Jasmine tilted her head, pretending not to understand. "Me? I didn't do anything." "You really think I'd waste time chasing your man again? Please. Then where is he?" Rasheeda snapped. Jasmine stepped closer, her voice dropping low. "Maybe he's finally where he wants to be, away from all this drama." That smirk again, the one that made Rasheeda want to scream. "You know what's funny?" Jasmine continued. "He told me once he felt trapped. Maybe he just set himself free. That was it." Rasheeda lunged forward, pushing Jasmine back toward the sand. They stumbled, arms flailing, screams echoing across the shore. Staff came running. Tourists shouted. Phones up, recording every second. Jasmine grabbed Rasheeda's wrist, shouting, "You're crazy. No, you're lying." Rasheeda shot back, tears cutting through her makeup. "Tell me where he is." They fell to the ground, tangled in rage, until two guards pulled them apart. Jasmine's hair was a mess now. Her calm facade cracked. "You need help," she spat. "You need to stop acting like he's some saint. Maybe Kirk left because he finally saw who you really are." Rasheeda's chest heaved, her whole body trembling. "Say one more word about him, Jasmine, and I swear." "What? You'll hit me again." Jasmine laughed, shaking sand from her hair. "You're embarrassing yourself. The world's watching, boss chick." Rasheeda froze. The cameras? The crowd? The flashing lights? She turned away, realizing how far she'd been pushed. Jasmine stood, brushing herself off like nothing happened. "I told you to go home," she muttered, walking back toward the resort. By the time Rasheeda reached her room again, social media had already exploded with clips of the beach fight. "Rasheeda loses IT in Jamaica," one tweet read. "Jasmine plays victim again," said another. Kirk's name was trending. But still, no one knew where he was. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at herself in the mirror. Her reflection didn't look like her anymore. She looked tired, broken, defeated. But inside, something colder began to rise. She wasn't done. She refused to be humiliated again. That night, she went through Kirk's suitcase still untouched in the corner. Inside were his passport, clothes, and a small notebook. She flipped through the pages, most of them blank except one, where Kirk had scribbled something days earlier. "If anything happens, check the villa near the cliffs." Her breath caught. There was another villa. She hadn't been told about it, but if Kirk had written it, he must have gone there. She grabbed her keys and rushed out, ignoring the hotel staff calling after her. The road to the cliffs was narrow and dark, lined with palm trees that bent in the wind. Waves crashed below like distant thunder. She found the villa's small, isolated house with lights flickering inside. The door was slightly open. Her heart pounded as she stepped in. The air smelled like cologne and rum. "Kirk," she called softly. No answer. She walked further inside, her heels clicking against the wooden floor. On the table lay another note. Same handwriting. "You shouldn't have come." Her stomach twisted. She turned toward the sound of footsteps behind her. "Hello?" Nothing. Just the creak of the floorboards. Then, a shadow moved across the curtain. She grabbed her phone, turning on the flashlight. "Who's there?" she demanded. Silence. Then suddenly, a voice whispered from the dark one she knew too well. "You just couldn't let me disappear, could you?" She gasped. Kirk stepped out from behind the curtain, eyes bloodshot, face drawn. "Kirk," she whispered, half relief, half confusion. "Where have you been? Do you have any idea what's happening?" He didn't answer right away. He just looked at her, then at the note on the table. "I told you not to come." Rasheeda's heart pounded. "What's going on? Why would you vanish like this? Why is Jasmine here?" Kirk rubbed his forehead. "Because she wasn't supposed to be. None of this was supposed to happen." His forehead. "Because she wasn't supposed to be. None of this was supposed to happen." "Then what?" she shouted. "You left me standing there looking like a fool while the whole internet laughs at me." Kirk's voice rose, sharp. "You think I planned this? You think I wanted her here? You don't know half of it, Rasheeda." He turned away, staring out the window at the ocean. "Someone's been playing us both." Rasheeda froze. "What do you mean?" Kirk looked over his shoulder, eyes dark. "That note, you got the one that said, 'Stop looking for me.' I didn't send it. I didn't even write it." She shook her head. "Then who did?" Kirk stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Someone who wants us to fall apart." And before she could ask another question, a knock rattled the villa door. Both of them turned toward it. Silent. Outside, a familiar voice called out sweetly, "Kirk, baby, you left your phone in my room." "Jasmine." The tension thickened like smoke. Rasheeda's eyes widened. Kirk's jaw tightened. And the truth they'd both been avoiding finally stood on the other side of the door, ready to destroy everything that was left. The knock came again, harder this time. Jasmine's voice grew sharper, more impatient. "Kirk, I know you're in there. Stop hiding." Rasheeda's stomach churned as she looked at Kirk, who stood frozen in the middle of the room, eyes flicking toward the door like he was deciding whether to answer or run. "You gonna open it?" Rasheeda said, her tone shaking between fury and heartbreak. Kirk didn't reply. Instead, he stepped closer to her, lowering his voice. "Listen to me. Before she comes in, nothing happened between us, okay? I swear on everything." Rasheeda laughed bitterly. "You expect me to believe that? She's out there calling you, baby." He clenched his jaw. "She's playing a game, and I walked right into it." Before he could say more, Jasmine pushed the door open and stepped inside like she owned the place. Her heels clicked against the wooden floor, her red nails glinting in the dim light. She took one look at Rasheeda and smiled. "Oh, how cute. A family reunion." Rasheeda crossed her arms, glaring. "What's your game this time, Jasmine? You crash my vacation, make me look crazy in front of the world, and now you're stalking my husband." Jasmine laughed, tossing her hair back. "Stalking? Please." "He came to me." She turned to Kirk, her voice dropping to a slow, deliberate tone. "Didn't you, baby?" Kirk's voice was tight. "Don't start." Jasmine took a step closer. "No. Tell her the truth. Tell her who called who." Rasheeda felt her blood boil. "Don't lie to my face, Kirk." Kirk raised his hands. "I called her because I needed to end it for good. I didn't want her showing up in our lives again." Jasmine rolled her eyes. End it. You were at my room 2 nights ago, remember? Asking me to understand you. Rasheeda turned, stunned. 2 nights ago. Kirk's face paled. She's twisting it. Jasmine shrugged. Am I? Or are you just mad? She found out. The room fell silent, except for the sound of waves outside. Rasheeda stared at Kirk, tears welling in her eyes. So that's where you were. While I was packing, thinking this trip was supposed to fix us, you were out there with her. Kirk stepped forward. It wasn't like that. Then what was it? She shouted. Because every time she shows up, you have some story, some reason, and every time I look like the fool who stays. Jasmine smirked. Well, you said it, not me. That was enough. Rasheeda moved so fast Jasmine didn't even see it coming. She shoved her hard against the wall, her voice shaking with rage. You stay out of my marriage. Jasmine laughed through the struggle, her words biting. Honey, if you still had a marriage, I wouldn't be here. Kirk rushed forward, pulling Rasheeda back. Stop, both of you, stop. Jasmine adjusted her hair, breathing hard but smiling like she'd won. Look at you two, fighting over a man who doesn't even know what he wants. She turned toward Kirk. You said you wanted peace. Does this look like peace? Kirk's face hardened. You need to leave. Jasmine's smirk faded. You serious? Leave? Jasmine, right now. For the first time, she looked shaken. Wow, you really think you can just cut me off? After everything? She glanced at Rasheeda, then back at him. You think she's gonna forgive you after this? You think she doesn't see the messages? Rasheeda's brow furrowed. What messages? Jasmine smiled again, slower this time. The ones he sent me last week. The ones where he said he still thinks about me when he can't sleep. Rasheeda's heart dropped. Kirk's face went blank. You lying? Jasmine took out her phone, scrolling casually. Am I? She turned the screen toward them. There it was, texts, photos, even a voice note. Kirk's voice saying, I can't talk long. She's home. Rasheeda stared at him like she didn't recognize the man standing there. Kirk's words came out desperate, stumbling. That's not what it looks like. She's been blackmailing me with old messages, mixing them with new ones. Jasmine laughed. Sure, Kirk. Tell her whatever helps you sleep tonight. Rasheeda's vision blurred. You're disgusting, she whispered. Both of you. She turned toward the door, but Kirk grabbed her arm. No, wait, just listen. She pulled away. Don't touch me. Rasheeda, please, you know me. I thought I did, she said quietly, but now I'm not sure. Jasmine's voice drifted from behind them, soft but sharp. He's not worth crying over, you know, but go ahead, play the loyal wife again. That's your brand, right? Rasheeda spun around, her hand trembling. You better walk out of here before I forget where we are. Jasmine smirked. You already forgot who you married. The argument spiraled again. Kirk shouted something about lies. Jasmine threw something across the room, and Rasheeda just stood there, numb. She could feel her entire life unraveling in real time, like the world was laughing while she fell apart. Then Kirk's phone rang. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A man's voice came through, deep and unfamiliar. Mr. Frost, we need to talk. This is about the footage. Kirk frowned. What footage? The line cut. Jasmine stiffened. What did he say? Kirk stared at the phone. He said footage. Rasheeda stepped closer. Footage of what? Kirk shook his head. I don't know. Jasmine looked nervous for the first time. You think someone recorded us? Kirk's voice rose. Recorded what? That single question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Jasmine looked away. Rasheeda turned toward her, voice shaking. What did you do? Jasmine didn't answer. Kirk grabbed her wrist. What did you do, Jasmine? She finally looked up, eyes darting between them. I didn't know it was recording, she said quickly. I thought the cameras were off. What cameras? Rasheeda demanded. Jasmine swallowed hard. The ones from the show. Mona was supposed to get some bureau for the new season, and they might have caught us talking. Maybe more than talking. Rasheeda felt her knees weaken. So, this whole thing, this trip, this chaos, it's all being filmed. Jasmine shook her head. No, not all of it. But that night, 2 weeks ago, in Atlanta, someone leaked the footage. I think that's why Kirk came here. To stop it. Kirk's eyes widened. You saying someone's blackmailing us with it? Jasmine nodded slowly. They said they'll drop it online if I don't play along. They told me to show up here. To make it public. Rasheeda's breath caught. So you did all this to save yourself? Jasmine's voice broke. Just a little. I didn't have a choice. Kirk ran his hand over his face. This is insane. Rasheeda stared at them both. You should have told me. I didn't want you dragged into it. Kirk said quietly. Too late, she replied. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. A storm was moving in, fast. The villa lights flickered as the wind slammed against the windows. Jasmine's phone buzzed again, a new message lighting up the screen. Her face went pale. Kirk grabbed the phone. The message read, "You didn't follow instructions. Now the world sees everything." Rasheeda stepped back, her heart pounding. What does that mean? Kirk's phone buzzed next, then hers. Notifications flooding in. Instagram, Twitter, gossip blogs, each headline screaming the same thing. Leaked footage. Kirk and Jasmine caught together Rasheeda in the dark. Her phone slipped from her hand. Jasmine covered her mouth. Kirk whispered, "Oh my God." And just like that, the truth they'd all been running from finally exploded for the entire world to see, leaving Rasheeda standing in the middle of that storm with nothing but betrayal on one side and humiliation on the other. While somewhere out there, someone with nothing but betrayal on one side and humiliation on the other. While somewhere out there, someone watched it all unfold exactly the way they planned. The sun was burning over Jamaica as the resort staff whispered about the chaos from last night. People were still talking about the poolside scene where Rasheeda and Jasmine almost came to blows. And Kirk's name kept floating like a curse in the air. No one had seen him since the shouting started. Security had checked the beach, the bar, and even the spa, but Kirk Frost was gone without a trace. Rasheeda sat at the edge of the infinity pool, sunglasses hiding swollen eyes. Her phone buzzed non-stop with missed calls from fans, producers, and family back home. She ignored them all. "I told him I was done playing games," she muttered, her voice trembling between rage and exhaustion. Jasmine stood a few feet away, pacing barefoot, phone in hand, recording little snippets for her Instagram story, pretending like nothing had happened. "I didn't even do nothing wrong," Jasmine said under her breath, but loud enough for Rasheeda to hear. "He a grown man, if he missin', that ain't on me." Rasheeda ripped off her sunglasses and glared. "Girl, don't start with me. You the reason he out here acting crazy." Jasmine rolled her eyes. "Oh please, you the wife and still can't control your husband, but somehow it's my fault." The air around them thickened. One of the resort guests tried to sneak a video from behind a palm tree, but a security guard quickly waved them away. Fans online were already speculating hashtags like hashtag Kirk missing and hashtag Jamaica drama were trending. Bloggers claimed Kirk had been spotted at a private villa with two unidentified women, while others swore he was taken by local promoters after an argument about money. Meanwhile, the Love and Hip Hop cameras had captured every moment. Producers debated whether to stop filming, but Mona Scott reportedly said, "Keep rolling, this is TV gold." Later that afternoon, Rasheeda stormed back to her suite, slamming the door so hard it shook the walls. Jasmine followed, still defending herself. "You need to stop blaming me for everything Kirk does," she said, her voice rising. "You want to be mad? Be mad at him." Rasheeda spun around, her patience gone. "Don't talk to me about him. You knew what you were doing when you came on this trip. You wanted this attention." Jasmine smirked. "And you didn't. You think I don't see how you play victim every time the cameras start rolling." Rasheeda threw her drink, missing by inches as it splashed against the white curtains. Jasmine gasped, backing up. "You lost your mind." "Nah," Rasheeda snapped. "I just finally see who you are." Outside, Yandi and Carly Red could hear the argument echoing down the hall. Yandi whispered, "We gotta stop this before somebody gets hurt." Carly shook her head, half grinning. "Girl, let them. This what people tune in for." Just then, Kirk's phone was found near the resort gate, cracked screen, sand covering it. One of the staff members brought it to Rasheeda's door. "Ma'am, we found this," he said nervously. Rasheeda froze when she saw Kirk's name flash on the lock screen. Jasmine stepped closer, curious but cautious. "Where did you find it?" Rasheeda asked, voice shaking. "Down by the private entrance," the man said. "Security said they saw someone matching his description leave in a taxi, but they couldn't see the plate number." Rasheeda clutched the phone tight. "So he just left," Jasmine muttered. "Wow." "Shut up," Rasheeda hissed. "You don't get to talk right now." She turned to Yandi, who had just walked in. "He really gone, Yandi?" "He left me here looking stupid," Yandi sighed. "You don't know that yet. He could have gone somewhere to cool off." "Cool off?" Rasheeda snapped. "From what? His wife or his side chick?" Jasmine crossed her arms. "You not about to keep calling me that. He told me you two were done before this trip." Rasheeda's laugh came out cold and hollow. "That's his favorite line. He'd been saying that to every woman since Atlanta." Carly tried to break the tension. "Look, let's not do this here. Let's go downstairs, talk to the producers, and figure out what's going on." But no one moved. The silence stretched until a knock came at the door. A resort manager stood there with two police officers. "Mrs. Frost," one of them asked, "we need to ask you a few questions about your husband." The entire room went still. Jasmine's mouth dropped open. "Wait, the police? What happened?" Rasheeda's heart sank. What do you mean? What happened? The officer replied, we received a report about a disturbance last night and a possible altercation near the beach involving Mr. Frost. Yandy covered her mouth. Carly whispered, Lord, this just got serious. The officers continued. A witness said there was shouting, and Mr. Frost may have been seen with another woman before he disappeared. Rasheeda's voice trembled. Another woman? Who? Jasmine's expression changed instantly. Don't look at me. I've been right here. The officer nodded. We're just gathering information for now. The tension in the suite was unbearable. Fans online were dissecting every live video, every clip, every rumor. Twitter was flooded with questions. Did Kirk really run off? Did Jasmine set him up? Is Rasheeda done for good this time? Meanwhile, producers were loving it. Mona Scott was seen in the production tent saying, we're staying an extra week. This story isn't done yet. Back inside, Rasheeda sat on the couch, staring at Kirk's phone like it held the answers. Jasmine leaned against the wall, scrolling through her own feed, ignoring the stares. Then suddenly, Kirk's phone buzzed. Everyone froze. An unknown number was calling. Rasheeda picked it up, hand trembling. Hello, a distorted voice answered. You shouldn't have come here. The line went dead. The room erupted. Yandy gasped. Jasmine dropped her phone, and Carly shouted, what was that? Who was that? Rasheeda just stared at the phone, face pale. That wasn't him, she whispered. That wasn't Kirk. Tension wrapped around the group like a storm cloud. Outside, cameras were already setting up for the next scene, because Jamaica had just turned into the most dramatic chapter of their lives. Rasheeda sat frozen, the phone still pressed against her ear even though the call had already ended. Yandy rushed over, grabbing her shoulders. What did they say? Rasheeda's voice cracked. They said, I shouldn't have come here. Jasmine shook her head, half laughing in disbelief. What kind of movie mess is this? Who even talks like that? But no one was laughing. The tension was heavy, thicker than the humid air outside. Carly stepped toward the balcony, scanning the resort grounds like she expected Kirk to walk up any minute. This don't feel right, she muttered. First he disappears. Now creepy phone calls. Something's off. Rasheeda finally lowered the phone, staring at it like it might ring again. Whoever that was, they knew my name. They knew where we are. Yandy rubbed her back. Listen, you need to breathe. Let's just call production security. Let them handle it. Rasheeda stood abruptly. No, I'm not waiting for anyone to handle it. That's my husband. I'm going to find him. Jasmine scoffed. Girl, you really still calling him your husband after everything? He out here embarrassing you, disappearing, lying. Rasheeda spun around, her glare enough to silence the room. You shut your mouth before I remind you who you're talking to. Jasmine lifted her hands. I'm just saying, don't act like I'm the problem when he's the one ghosting everybody. Before Rasheeda could respond, one of the producers knocked and peeked in. Hey, we just got a tip. Someone saw Kirk leaving the resort in a black SUV around midnight. The driver was local. Security's trying to get footage now. Everyone jumped to their feet. With who? Yandy asked. We don't know yet, the producer said, clearly nervous. But the driver said he dropped them off near Montego Bay. Jasmine frowned. Them. So he wasn't alone. Rasheeda's jaw tightened. Oh, he wasn't alone. All right. This fool really thinks he can disappear with some random chick while we're all out here losing our minds. Carly grabbed her arm. Slow down, girl. You can't just run out of here. We don't even know if that's true. I don't care, Rasheeda said. I'm not sitting here waiting for another mystery call. She stormed toward the door, pulling off her cover-up and tossing it on the floor. If he's in Montego Bay, that's where I'm going. Jasmine muttered under her breath. Of course, she's making this a whole movie. Yandy shot her a look. And? You gonna stay here and keep filming like this? Don't involve you. Jasmine rolled her eyes but followed anyway. Cameras trailed behind as they left the suite. The car ride was tense. No one spoke for 20 minutes. Outside, the landscape changed from luxury resorts to quiet streets lined with local shops. Finally, they reached a small beachfront bar. The producer pointed. That's where the driver said he dropped him off. Rasheeda stepped out, scanning the area. A group of locals sat nearby, music playing from an old speaker. One of them recognized her instantly. Yo, that's Rasheeda Frost. Phones came out, flashes started popping, and within seconds, social media exploded with posts tagging hashtag #RASHEEDA in Jamaica. Jasmine stayed behind the group, muttering, Great, now the whole island's watching us. Rasheeda walked up to the bartender. Excuse me, did you see this man? She showed Kirk's photo on her phone. The man looked, then nodded slowly. Yeah, He was here last night. He looked upset, said something about needing to clear his head. Was he alone? Rasheeda asked. The bartender hesitated. No, miss, there was a woman with him. Tall, light-skinned, long curly hair. American accent. Rasheeda's stomach dropped. Jasmine immediately turned defensive. Don't look at me. I was at the resort the whole time. Carly raised an eyebrow. You sure? Because that sounds real specific. Jasmine snapped. I got receipts. Check my story. I was live all night. Yandi sighed. Okay, so if it wasn't you, then who? Rasheeda clenched her fists. I know exactly who. That same chick he's been texting on the low. She turned back to the bartender. Did you hear where they went? The man nodded. They took a boat out. Just before sunrise. Rasheeda's eyes widened. A boat? To where? He said something about the private islands. The man replied. But the boat came back empty. Everyone froze. Jasmine whispered. Empty. Yes. The man said. No one was on it. Yandi looked horrified. So you're saying Kirk went out there and never came back? Before he could answer, Rasheeda's phone buzzed again. A message. No name, just a number. She opened it. One photo. Kirk's chain, the same one he never took off, lying in the sand next to a broken glass bottle. Rasheeda gasped, dropping her phone. Jasmine bent down to pick it up. Who sent this? Don't touch it, Rasheeda warned. This is sick. Someone's playing with me. Carly pulled her aside. What if it's not a game? What if he really in trouble? Or what if he staged this? Jasmine said bitterly. You know Kirk loves drama. Maybe he doing this for attention. Rasheeda stared at her, eyes full of disbelief. You think this is a storyline? You think I'd fake my husband disappearing? Jasmine shrugged. You tell me. Half of Atlanta think y'all faked your breakup last season too. Rasheeda lunged. But Yandi and Carly grabbed her arms before she could swing. Stop it. Yandi shouted. This not the time. The bartender stepped back, uneasy. Ladies, please, you can't fight here. Rasheeda's breathing was heavy, her voice shaking. She's lucky I don't throw her in that ocean. Jasmine folded her arms. And you lucky I don't tell the whole truth about what really happened last night. The group froze. What are you talking about? Yandi asked. Jasmine smirked. Oh, now you wanna listen. Rasheeda narrowed her eyes. Say it. Go ahead, say it. Jasmine hesitated, then said quietly. He wasn't running from me, Rasheeda. He was running from you? The silence hit like thunder. What? Rasheeda whispered. You heard me. Jasmine said. He told me he felt trapped. Said you only cared about image, money, and cameras. Said he wanted peace. Rasheeda's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. You lying? He wouldn't say that. He did. Jasmine replied, voice steady now. And maybe that's why he's gone. Rasheeda took a step closer, her tone low and cold. You really think he would leave his family for you? You think you're the reason? Jasmine didn't flinch. Maybe I'm not the reason he left, but I'm definitely the reason he stayed as long as he did. The slap came fast, echoing through the bar before anyone could stop it. Carly screamed, Rasheeda, no. But it was too late. Jasmine's head snapped to the side, her lip bleeding slightly. The cameras caught everything. The crew didn't dare cut. Fans online were about to see this blow up in real time. You done lost your mind, Jasmine said through gritted teeth, tears of rage welling up. You think hitting me gonna bring him back? Rasheeda stood over her, shaking. No, but it shut you up. The bartender ran to call security. Yandi pulled Rasheeda back. And the sound of sirens in the distance meant this fight was about to get even messier. The Jamaica trip had officially turned into a nightmare none of them could control. Security rushed into the bar, trying to separate the women as the crowd outside gathered with phones out, recording every angle. Flashes went off. People screamed, and the love and hip-hop cameras kept rolling, capturing every tear, every word, every bruise. Jasmine was shouting over the noise. She hit me. She really hit me on camera. Rasheeda was still shaking, eyes red, breath heavy. You pushed me there. She shouted back. You don't stop until you destroy everything around you. Jasmine screamed. You already destroyed it yourself. Yandi held Rasheeda back, whispering, Stop, stop. They gonna twist this. They'll make you look crazy. But Rasheeda wasn't listening. I don't care anymore. She yelled. Let them see who I really am. I'm tired of pretending. Carly tried to calm Jasmine, but Jasmine pulled away, wiping her mouth. Nah, I'm done. I'm done playing second to that man and his messy wife. She turned to the camera. You want your headline? Here it is. Kirk Frost been lying to both of us. And if he don't come back tonight, I got receipts that'll break this whole thing open. The entire set went silent. Producers exchanged looks. Mona Scott, standing behind the monitors, whispered, Keep filming. This is about to explode. Jasmine stormed out of the bar, the crowd partying as she passed. Paparazzi followed, shouting questions. Rasheeda stood there trembling, then collapsed into a chair, hands over her face. How did it get this bad? She whispered. Yandi knelt beside her. You gotta pull yourself together, girl. If Kirk really missing, this not how you find him. Rasheeda looked up, eyes wild. He's not missing Yandi. He's hiding. He's hiding because he knows. I found out. Found out what? Carly asked. Rasheeda hesitated. About the money. Carly frowned. What money? Rasheeda leaned in. Kirk took money out of the business account last week. Over $50,000. He said it was for a project, but I checked he wired it to some woman named Leah Thompson. Jasmine had just reached the doorway when she froze. What did you just say? Rasheeda glared. You heard me. Leah Thompson. You know her. Jasmine's face went blank. No, I don't. You lying? Rasheeda said. Your face always gives you away. Jasmine turned, voice cracking. I said I don't know her. She walked off fast, but her hands were shaking. Yandi whispered. She knows something. I know, Rasheeda said softly. And I'm gonna find out what. Later that night, the resort was quiet, but the energy was heavy. Word had spread. Everyone on the cast was talking about Kirk's disappearance and the fight. Producers held an emergency meeting, worried about legal fallout, but Mona refused to stop shooting. This is reality, she said. If they want to walk through hell, we'll film the fire. Around midnight, Jasmine was on the beach, staring at the dark waves, phone in her hand. She called someone. Yeah, it's me, she whispered. They know about the money. We need to fix this before it blows up. There was a pause. No, I didn't tell them your name, but they found Kirk's phone. If they trace it, she stopped suddenly, realizing someone was behind her. Rasheeda's voice cut through the wind. Who you talking to? Jasmine jumped, hiding the phone. Nobody. What are you doing out here? Looking for answers, Rasheeda said, walking closer. And looks like I just found one. Jasmine backed up. Don't start, Rasheeda. Too late, Rasheeda said. You knew about that money, and you know where Kirk is. Jasmine shook her head. No, I don't. You always think everything revolves around you. It does when it's my husband and my bank account, Rasheeda snapped. Jasmine turned to walk away, but Rasheeda grabbed her arm. You not going anywhere till you tell me the truth. Jasmine yanked free. You think I owe you anything? You never respected me. You never respected him either. You just wanted to control the story. Control, Rasheeda said, laughing bitterly. Girl, I've been cleaning up his messes for 20 years. You think that's control? That's survival. Then why are you still doing it? Jasmine shot back. You could have left him a long time ago, but you stayed because without him, you're scared people will stop caring about you. Rasheeda froze, her face tightening. Watch your mouth. Hit me again then, Jasmine said. That's what you do when the truth hurts. Rasheeda stepped closer, her voice low. You don't know what hurt is. Suddenly, a voice called from behind them. Rasheeda, Jasmine, stop. It was Yandi running across the sand, waving her phone. You both need to see this. She showed them her screen. It was a new post on Instagram, a video clip from an anonymous account. Kirk Frost, sitting in what looked like a small boat, wind in his hair, looking straight at the camera. The caption read, "Don't come looking for me. Some things are better left unsaid." Jasmine gasped. Rasheeda's knees almost gave out. What is this? Yandi said, it was posted 10 minutes ago. So he's alive, Jasmine said softly. Yeah, Rasheeda whispered, tears filling her eyes. But why would he say that? Carly ran up behind them, panting. It's already everywhere. Girl, TMZ, the shade room, baller alert, they all got it. What's the location? Tag, Rasheeda asked. Yandi squinted. It says Montego K. That's private property. No way we're getting in there. Rasheeda clenched her jaw. Watch me. Jasmine stepped forward. You're really gonna go chasing him again after all that? You can stay here, Rasheeda said coldly. But I'm not leaving Jamaica till I look him in the eye. Jasmine crossed her arms. Fine, then I'm coming to, because if he's lying, I want him to say it to my face. Yandi groaned. Lord, y'all gonna end up on the news for real. As the three women headed toward the pier, the night felt heavy, electric. The waves crashed harder, lightning flickered in the distance, and the cameras followed like shadows. Somewhere beyond that dark horizon, Kirk Frost was waiting, and none of them were ready for what he was about to reveal. The boat ride to Montego K felt endless. The wind whipped through their hair as Rasheeda sat in the front, staring straight ahead, her jaw locked tight. Jasmine sat a few feet away, arms crossed, occasionally glancing at her phone, scrolling through the growing chaos online. Hashtag Kirk Frost in Jamaica was trending everywhere. Fans were split, half blaming Jasmine, half calling Rasheeda the queen of denial. Yandi sat between them, praying silently for peace that clearly wasn't coming. You sure about this? The boat driver asked nervously. That island's private. Ma'am. No guests allowed. Rasheeda didn't even blink. Drive. Lightning flashed across the sky, followed by a distant roll of thunder. The island loomed closer, half hidden behind sheets of rain, its palm trees bending under the wind. The boat hit the dock with a thud. This it, the driver said. Y'all got 15 minutes before the tide turns. Rasheeda jumped off first, feet sinking into wet sand. Jasmine followed reluctantly, muttering, this feels wrong. It is wrong, Yandi said, clutching her jacket. But we're here now. The island was eerily quiet. The only sound was the rustle of leaves and the distant crash of waves. As they moved inland, Rasheeda spotted something, a flickering light coming from a small beach hut. There, she said, pointing. The three women approached slowly. The closer they got, the stronger the smell of alcohol and smoke. Jasmine wrinkled her nose. He really out here living like a pirate? Rasheeda ignored her and pushed open the door. Kirk was there, sitting on a chair, head in his hands, a half-empty bottle of rum on the table beside him. He looked up, eyes bloodshot and weary. What are y'all doing here? Rasheeda froze, her breath catching. What are we doing here? What are you doing here? Kirk sighed, rubbing his face. I just needed time to think. You disappeared, she snapped. You left your phone, had the police searching, had everybody losing their minds. I didn't ask them to, he said quietly. I told security I was leaving. You told nobody else, Rasheeda shouted. And what about that post? That video? You said don't come looking for you. Kirk looked down. That wasn't for you. Then who? Jasmine stepped forward, voice tight. Say it, Kirk. Who was it for? Kirk hesitated. Leah. Jasmine's expression went blank. Rasheeda's mouth fell open. So it's true, she whispered. The money? The woman, everything. Kirk nodded slowly. I was trying to handle something before it got worse. Worse? Rasheeda said, her voice trembling. How could it get worse than this? Kirk looked up at her, guilt all over his face. Because she's pregnant. The silence that followed was unbearable. Jasmine stumbled back a step, eyes wide. Pregnant. Rasheeda shook her head in disbelief. No, you lying. You're not serious. Kirk didn't answer. He didn't have to. The truth was all over his face. Jasmine's voice cracked. So you left us both for another woman having your baby? It wasn't supposed to happen like this, Kirk said. I didn't even know she saved it. Rasheeda cut in. You've said those exact words before. Every single time. This ain't the same, Kirk said weakly. Rasheeda laughed bitterly. It's always the same. You cheat. You lie. You disappear. Then you come back crying. I'm done. She turned to leave, but Jasmine blocked the door. Oh no. You don't get to just walk out. You dragged me into this. You made me the villain when he was out here starting another family. Move, Rasheeda said coldly. No, Jasmine snapped. You gonna hear me? I defended you. I let people clown me online just so you wouldn't look stupid. And the whole time, he was doing it again. Kirk stood up, shouting, both of y'all need to chill. Rasheeda spun around, fire in her eyes. No. You don't get to tell us to chill. You made this mess. You fix it. Kirk slammed his hand on the table. I didn't want her to get dragged into this. Too late, Jasmine said, stepping closer. You dragged everyone. Thunder boomed, shaking the small hut. The storm outside was growing stronger. Yandi grabbed her phone, whispering to Carly on speaker. Girl, it's bad. You won't believe this. He just told them he got another woman pregnant. Carly gasped on the other end. Stop playing. I wish I was, Yandi said. It's getting ugly out here. Rasheeda turned back to Kirk. So what now? You gonna go play house with her? Kirk rubbed his temples. I don't know. You don't know? Rasheeda repeated, voice rising. You ruined 3 lives and you don't know. Jasmine folded her arms, tears running down her face. You always said I was different. That I wasn't like the others. Kirk shook his head. Jasmine, don't do that. Don't what? She shouted. You said you loved me. I said a lot of things, Kirk said softly. That was the breaking point. Jasmine lunged, shoving him in the chest. You used me. Stop, Rasheeda yelled, pulling her back. You think you the only one he played? You still defending him? Jasmine screamed. No, Rasheeda shouted. I'm defending myself. Because I refuse to lose my mind over a man who don't even respect himself. Lightning struck nearby, making everyone jump. Kirk sat back down, silent, defeated. Outside, the wind howled, shaking the hut's thin walls. Rasheeda stared at him one last time. You made your choice, Kirk. Now live with it. She walked out into the rain. Yandi followed, calling after her. Jasmine stayed, staring at Kirk through tears. You really ruined everything, she said quietly. Kirk didn't respond. Jasmine turned and left, leaving him alone with the sound of thunder and regret. As the storm raged, cameras caught every moment. The heartbreak, the fury, the silence. Fans would soon call it the most shocking love and hip-hop episode ever filmed. But for Rasheeda, it wasn't TV anymore. It was the end of everything she had built. As the night deepened over Jamaica, the resort that once sparkled with laughter now carried a storm of whispers and muffled cries. Jasmine was pacing by the pool, her face streaked with tears, while security tried to calm her down. "I didn't do anything. She hit me first," she screamed, pointing back toward the hallway where Rasheeda's voice could still be heard, echoing through the walls. Kirk was nowhere to be found, and that absence burned more than any insult. Fans who caught snippets of the live stream couldn't believe their eyes. Their favorite love and hip-hop couple was breaking apart under the bright island lights. A few workers stood by the bar, shaking their heads as rumors spread like wildfire through the resort. Some said Kirk had been seen leaving in a black Jeep toward the airport. Others swore he was spotted at a private villa with another woman. Nobody knew the truth, and that uncertainty was gasoline. Spotted at a private villa with another woman. Nobody knew the truth, and that uncertainty was gasoline. "Before I took you back, you promised me you'd never do that again. And here we are, different island, same betrayal." Kirk's face fell, his defenses breaking. "Rasheeda, I swear it wasn't like that. I didn't even know Jasmine was staying there. I was losing it. Okay, I just needed air." Rasheeda looked at him, then said quietly, "You didn't need air. You needed an escape from your guilt." The cameras zoomed in, capturing the tear finally falling down her cheek. Jasmine turned away, unable to look. Kirk sat down on the sand, defeated, staring out at the ocean. "How did we end up here?" he whispered. Rasheeda didn't answer. Instead, she walked toward the water, letting the waves hit her feet. The silence between them said more than words could. By evening, the resort was half emptied. Production had called a temporary shutdown, but fans were already demanding the footage. Twitter threads, TikTok edits, and YouTube breakdowns flooded social media. Everyone wanted to know what really happened in Jamaica. That night, Kirk sat alone outside his villa, scrolling through comments. One of them read, "If Kirk cheated again, Rasheeda better leave him for good." Another said, "Jasmine always in the mix. She thrives off chaos." He dropped the phone and stared into the dark. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Jasmine appeared again, holding 2 cups of coffee. "For what it's worth," she said softly, "I didn't tell them to put my name on that room." Kirk didn't respond. She sighed, sitting beside him. "They want drama, Kirk. That's the whole show. We just gave them what they wanted." Kirk shook his head. "This isn't TV anymore. This is my marriage." Jasmine looked at him carefully. "Is it still?" Kirk turned to her, eyes heavy with regret. "I don't know anymore." What they didn't realize was that Rasheeda had come out onto the balcony above, watching the entire exchange. Her face hardened again, but this time the pain looked colder, almost numb. The scene faded into the sound of waves and murmuring voices, setting the stage for the explosion that would follow the next morning. By the next morning, the island felt heavier, as if the air itself carried the residue of every unspoken word from the night before. The resort staff avoided eye contact, whispers floated through the corridors, and even the ocean waves seemed slower, quieter. Rasheeda hadn't slept. She sat by the balcony, wrapped in a thin robe, scrolling through her phone where hundreds of notifications flooded her screen. Her name was trending again, not for her business, not for her music, but for the meltdown that half of Atlanta was gossiping about. Jasmine and Kirk. That was the headline under every post. She set her phone down and stared at the sunrise, her voice low and bitter. "You'd think after all these years, I'd be done being the fool." Downstairs, Kirk sat with the producers, his tone tense but controlled. "I'm not doing another confessional about last night. This ain't just TV, man. Y'all playing with my real life?" One of the producers leaned back, smirking slightly. "You know how this works, Kirk. Real pain makes great television. But you want the truth out, right? Tell your side." Kirk rubbed his temples. "My side. I disappeared for peace, not pleasure. But no one's gonna believe that." Jasmine walked in mid-sentence, dressed in a bright yellow sundress that did little to soften the exhaustion in her eyes. "We still filming?" she asked, her tone flat. Kirk glared at her. "You should have left when you had the chance." "Don't blame me for your mess," she shot back. The tension between them was thick enough to choke on. The producers didn't stop rolling. They knew every line was gold. Meanwhile, upstairs, Rasheeda was packing her suitcase. Candy tried to convince her to stay. "Girl, leaving just gives them more to talk about." Rasheeda zipped the bag with a sharp motion. "Let them talk. I'm done living for their headlines." She grabbed her phone and started recording an Instagram story, her voice calm, her expression tight. Sometimes peace means walking away from what breaks you, even if the world wants to watch it happen. Within minutes, the clip went viral. Comments poured in. Queen energy. Rasheeda deserves better. Leave Kirk for good. Kirk saw it pop up on his phone mid. He cursed under his breath and stormed out. Jasmine followed him, calling after him. So you just gonna let her control the story again? Kirk spun around. She's my wife. You think I care about control right now? Jasmine stopped walking, staring at him, eyes narrowing. Then why are you still here, Kirk? Why aren't you running after her? Kirk froze. The truth hit harder than any accusation. He didn't answer, and that silence spoke volumes. Jasmine nodded slowly. Yeah, that's what I thought. She turned and walked away, her sandals crunching against the gravel, leaving Kirk standing alone in the heat of his own mistakes. A few minutes later, he finally went back upstairs, hoping to catch Rasheeda before she left, but when he opened the door, all that remained was her perfume and a note on the dresser. The note said, "I hope you find what you're looking for. Just don't expect me to wait this time." Kirk sat on the bed, his hands trembling as he read the words again and again. Production crew hovered outside the door, waiting for him to break, but he didn't give them that satisfaction. He wiped his face, threw on a t-shirt, and walked out to the beach, the cameras trailing behind him. On the other side of the resort, Jasmine sat under a cabana with a drink, pretending to relax while talking to a friend on the phone. "Girl, it's crazy out here. They all losing it. Kirk gone, Rasheeda packing, the crew filming like it's the season finale." Her friend laughed nervously through the speaker. "You sure you didn't stir that pot just a little?" Jasmine smirked, glancing at the cameras. "Maybe, but I didn't light the fire. It was already burning." Later that afternoon, Kirk finally appeared in the resort lobby, sweat on his forehead, frustration on his face. He looked at production and said, "Get me a ticket home. I'm done." The producer raised an eyebrow. "You sure? Walking away means no control over the final cut." Kirk glared at him. "You think I care about a cut? My marriage is on the line." But before he could leave, a commotion erupted outside. Paparazzi had arrived. Someone leaked their location, and the chaos was instant. Flashes, shouting, questions flying through the air. "Kirk, did you cheat again? Rasheeda, are you filing for divorce? Jasmine, how do you respond to the rumors?" Rasheeda stepped out of the elevator right into the madness. Reporters surrounded her, and for a second, she froze. Then, to everyone's surprise, she smiled faintly and said, "No comment." Kirk tried to reach her through the crowd, shouting her name. Jasmine stood back, watching quietly, a strange mix of pity and satisfaction crossing her face. When Kirk finally caught up, Rasheeda turned around and said softly, "You made your choice the moment you left that night." Kirk's voice cracked. "Please don't do this here." "I didn't," she said. "You did." Then she turned to the cameras and said, "Make sure you get my good side. I'm done being the storyline." She walked toward the waiting car, got in, and closed the door without another word. The crowd parted as the car pulled away, leaving Kirk standing in the middle of flashing lights, looking smaller than he ever had before. The next morning, headlines exploded again. Rasheeda walks out on Kirk Jamaica trip ends in tears. Jasmine caught in the middle as Kirk begs for forgiveness. Back in Atlanta, fans flooded the comment sections, some calling it karma, others calling it staged. But deep down, even the show's producers knew, none of it was fake anymore. Every word, every tear, every silence had been real. And though Kirk told everyone he was heading home, the truth was, he booked a separate flight to Los Angeles instead. No one knew why. Not yet. That secret would ignite the next chapter of chaos. The sun had barely risen when Kirk landed in Los Angeles, wearing the same black hoodie from the night before, his phone buzzing nonstop with messages from both production and fans. His face was tired, unshaven, his mind still replaying the look Rasheeda gave him before she drove off. It wasn't anger anymore, it was the kind of calm that follows when someone finally gives up on you. As he walked through Lax, a few onlookers whispered, snapping photos, "Ain't that Kirk from Love and Hip Hop?" Someone murmured. He kept his head down. Within hours, blogs had the pictures. Kirk spotted alone in LA after Jamaica drama. Fans flooded social media, half of them accusing him of chasing another woman, the rest begging. Half of them accusing him of chasing another woman, the rest begging. Line, once leaked to the Shade Room, became the next viral quote. And fans started tagging it under her old photos as a symbol of resilience. Meanwhile, Jasmine Blue appeared unbothered, posting pictures of herself at a hookah lounge wearing designer shades and writing, "Can't shame a woman who owns her truth." That caption sent the internet into another frenzy. Rasheeda supporters accused Jasmine of taunting a wife already in pain, while others praised her for keeping it real. Every minute brought a new headline, a new theory, a new twist. But beneath the noise, something deeper was shifting. The power dynamics of Atlanta's reality TV elite were changing, and everyone could sense it. As the city buzzed with tension, producers were already drafting new contracts, plotting exclusive interviews, and preparing for the most explosive love and hip-hop season yet. Nobody was safe from exposure now. Every private fight, every lie, every secret was a potential headline waiting to detonate. And in the center of it all stood Rasheeda Frost, no longer the calm businesswoman or loyal wife, but a woman on the edge of reinvention, ready to show Atlanta that walking out doesn't mean walking away. The cameras hadn't stopped rolling. In fact, they had just found their most powerful story yet. When Rasheeda finally spoke, the world stopped scrolling. After 4 days of complete silence, she went live on Instagram, her face bare, eyes heavy, voice steady but wounded. No glam team, no filters, just raw truth. Nearly 1 million people tuned in within minutes as she looked directly into the camera and said, "I've held my family down for years. I've forgiven things that would have broken other women, but this is a different kind of betrayal." The comments exploded instantly. Heart emojis, angry emojis, prayers, and endless messages saying "We love you, Queen." For the first time, Rasheeda didn't sound like the composed entrepreneur or the reality star trying to manage an image. She sounded like a woman who had reached the point of no return. She spoke carefully, never mentioning Jasmine by name but making her presence felt with phrases like, "When you let snakes into your home, don't be surprised when you get bit." She described feeling trapped between her love for Kirk and the weight of public humiliation. How she had built her empire while others were tearing it down from within. At one point, she paused, looked down, and whispered, "I built a brand off loyalty. But maybe I forgot to keep some for myself." That line hit deep. Fans reposted it across every platform, calling it the realest thing Rasheeda ever said. Then she dropped the line nobody saw coming. "I'm not coming back home." She explained that she had already moved her essentials out of the Frost household and was staying somewhere where peace still exists. The live chat froze for several seconds as viewers processed the statement. Kirk, who had reportedly been trying to reach her since the leak, was said to have watched the entire broadcast in shock. Within an hour, news outlets reported that Rasheeda had also filed preliminary paperwork for a legal separation, a move that confirmed this was no storyline. This was reality in its rawest form. Across town, Kirk's reaction was a mix of disbelief and damage control. He posted an Instagram story hours later with the caption, "Sometimes the internet turns love into war. I still love my wife." But that message was buried under the weight of Rasheeda's emotional clarity. For years, she had been painted as the forgiving wife who stayed no matter what, the woman who turned pain into business success. Now, she was rewriting her role, turning heartbreak into independence. Even The Breakfast Club discussed it the next morning, with Charlemagne saying, "This right here, this is bigger than TV." Rasheeda just shifted how every woman watching that show gonna move from now on. Meanwhile, Jasmine Blue found herself at the center of growing backlash. Her latest Instagram post, a photo captioned "Unbothered Energy Only," was swarmed with comments accusing her of being heartless. Some fans demanded she issue an apology, while others reminded everyone that Kirk was equally responsible. But the damage had been done. Her brand deals were quietly being reconsidered, club appearances cancelled, and publicists urging her to lay low. Yet, instead of retreating, Jasmine seemed to feed off the chaos, teasing a tele interview with a major YouTube host. Rasheeda, however, wasn't interested in clapping back anymore. After ending her live stream, she turned off her phone, looked out at the city skyline, and took a deep breath. "I've cried enough," she told herself. "Now I'm gonna build again." Word spread that she was already in talks with a major streaming platform to produce her own documentary about love, betrayal, and resilience, an unfiltered look at what it means to survive public pain in private. Atlanta had watched her break. Now, they were about to watch her rebuild. The next morning, news outlets ran headlines like "Rasheeda Frost reclaims her power" and "Love and Hip Hop Queen says she's done playing the strong role." Fans started tagging her with hashtag #RASHEED, A Reborn, turning her pain into a movement. And while Kirk and Jasmine scrambled to control their narratives, Rasheeda's story had already shifted. She was no longer a victim in a scandal. She was the main character in a rebirth that nobody could stop watching. As the night stretched over the Jamaican coastline, the resort was wrapped in a silence that didn't feel peaceful. It felt like aftermath. The cameras had been taken down. The crew was exhausted, and yet the air still buzzed with the echo of everything that had happened. Jasmine sat alone near the empty pool, the soft lights flickering over her reflection. She replayed every moment in her head, every word Rasheeda had shouted, every look Kirk had avoided. The fight that had started as a burst of rage had now turned into something colder, something that wouldn't fade with sleep. Jasmine picked up her phone, scrolling through unread messages from friends and strangers alike. Half of them cursed her, half defended her, but none of it felt real. Her eyes burned from the screen's glare, and she muttered under her breath, "They don't even know what really happened." But deep down, she wasn't sure she did either. In another part of the resort, Rasheeda was pacing in her suite, still trembling from anger and exhaustion. She couldn't believe Kirk had left her standing in front of cameras, looking like the fool once again. She threw her robe over a chair, sat down on the bed, and let out a long sigh. Her phone kept vibrating calls from producers, from friends back in Atlanta, even from Yandi, but she ignored them all. Her hands shook as she opened a voice note Kirk had sent earlier. His tone was soft, almost pleading. I didn't plan this. I swear I didn't plan none of it. I just needed a minute. Please don't let the cameras destroy us again." But it was too late for gentle words. Rasheeda closed the message halfway through, whispering to herself, "You already did that." The next morning, the entire resort was buzzing with whispers. The staff tried to act normal, but the guests couldn't stop staring. People had recorded parts of the fight, and clips were already spreading online with titles like "Rasheeda loses it in Jamaica," and "Jasmine versus Rasheeda love, and hip-hop explodes." Even before breakfast, gossip blogs had turned the scene into headlines. Fans dissected every frame, debating who started it, who was right, and who looked broken. Kirk, who had disappeared the night before, was spotted returning quietly through a side entrance wearing the same clothes he'd left in. When he entered the suite, Rasheeda was already gone. Her suitcase was missing, and on the counter was a single folded note. He picked it up slowly. It wasn't long, but it hit him harder than any fight ever had. "I'm tired of being the one who stays. When you figure out what you want, don't come find me, find yourself first." Kirk sat down, rubbing his temples, realizing for the first time that maybe he'd finally pushed her past the point of forgiveness. Producers were panicking, unsure whether to keep filming or shut it all down. One of them suggested they follow Rasheeda wherever she went because the story's not over, it's just getting real. Bye. Not over, it's just getting real. Bye.